tax rebates, we're getting pretty upmarket.
Yeah, well, it's more the online tax companies. It's just a reminder to people out there they've got a trust or a company and they've got the accountant doing the books, not to actually go and sign up with them. There's a few people that have suddenly thought, oh, I'll get a refund, I'll go and sign up with these online tax companies and think that's the be-all and end-all. The implication is if you do that, your accountant no longer acts for you and they can't finish off the books of your trust or company. And that could mean that you either overpay your tax because the accountant just goes ahead and finishes, oh, well, you've done your refund, we'll just go and finish the books as they are, or they actually have to go and fix your refund up with IRD.
So, okay, just pass that by me again. If you go to an online company.
If you go to the online company, they'll do your tax return, get you your refund normally, because they promise that in most cases. Your accountant needs your personal tax return to finish off a company or a trust because they want to look at the best way of allocating income out to get your tax bill down. So if someone's already done it for you, the only way to really do it is to actually for your accountant to get the tax refund back or tax return back from IRD, have a look at what they can do, and you may have to pay your tax back to IRD that you already had refunded.
Right. So put all the eggs in one basket.
Yeah, so the important thing is to stay with your accountant. Don't go with these tax refund companies because it does make the accountant's job harder. It will cost you more. And if you do go with them and you have to fix your tax return, you could expose yourself to IRD unnecessarily.
Yeah, the thing is you have to pay you a lot more money to do it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah, because I've got to fluff around trying to get it all sorted, find out from IRD what you had back, work out, what you've got to pay, and then you've got to pay them, write a big cheque, and that money that you thought you had's gone.
Now, you get people to sign a thing to say that they are very happy with you being the accountant, don't you?
Yes, yeah. IRD have got a requirement that anybody that comes on board has to sign a form that says that we're going to be their tax agent.
And that has to happen annually?
No, well, that happens when you first come on board, and then for us to do a tax return, we also get them to sign it annually, a checklist or a questionnaire to say that they've given us all the information and that they take responsibility for everything. So that if we don't know something, we can't be held responsible, basically.
So that in that case, the IRD know to contact the chartered accountant?
Yes, yep. Yeah, and you can't put a person onto your agency list with IRD without that first initial signed form. Okay. So, and that's basically the notification. And they actually come in annually and check on us to make sure that we've done that. And if we don't, then it's a bit of trouble.
Okay, so I better sign mine.
Yes.
Consumer confidence?
Yeah, we've had ANZ and Westpac both come out with reports saying that consumer confidence is actually down, and as a result, their spending patterns are dropping. The outlook is that it's going to continue to drop. They've actually, there's no real surprise, come out and said the rural economy is the one that's shown the biggest drop in confidence and spending.
That's understanding.
Yeah, it's not a surprise. But they've also come out and said the wealthiest and also the sort of the higher income people, they're also dropping their spending, which was a little bit of a surprise because you'd think they'd be the ones that carry on and the ones on the sort of middle or lower income would actually drop.
So how do they work that out? Do they?
They just look at the spending habits and what people are doing. They survey people and say, are you going to spend the same in the future as what you did in the past? There's a whole pile of questions that go into it, but yeah, it's interesting that both banks are showing the same trend.
Yeah, and that's their job, isn't it?
Yeah,
they do.
Yeah, and obviously with the spending down, the economy is not going to grow as strong, which means the Reserve Bank have got to sort of factor that into their forecast for the interest rates and inflation, etc. So there's some big implications for it.
Okay, well, here's the left field one. Does that mean that they'll put interest rates up or bring them back, or keep them as they are?
If it's sort of not affecting inflation and it's sort of staying roughly where it is, then they probably won't move them. If spending drops too far, they may drop the rates just to sort of give people a boost so they've got a bit more money in their pocket.
That's what I was after.
Yeah, and then go out and spend. That's sort of the general trend. Obviously, there's a lot more things that go into the calculations where they go up or down, but this is one small sort of factor of it.
That's good, okay. Vehicle expenses.
Yeah, we've had a few questions recently from people sort of saying, what can we claim, not claim, etc. And the answer is depends on what you're actually operating as. So if you're a sole trader or partnership, if you've got a 100% farm-related vehicle, no problem at all. You just claim all the expenses. But if your vehicle is personal and business, then your requirement is to actually keep a logbook for 3 months, and you've got to do that every 3 years, and that gives you a business percentage to claim. So that's not too difficult for them. For a company, implications even more. They can claim 100% of the expenses, no problem, and they can also claim all the GST on it. But if it's for an employee, whether it's a shareholder employee or a staff member, they've got a perks tax to think about.
Yeah, that's that fringe benefit tax.
Yeah, the fringe benefit tax, which can prove quite costly. And if you're in that situation and you have got a company with a personal use vehicle, then you're best to talk to your accountant because there's a couple of scenarios that can be put in place but it depends on your personal circumstances.
How big a pain in the neck is it to fill in a logbook?
Depends on how much travel you do. We find that most people during that period sort of have very limited travel as such for personal, but it's got to be done.
Yeah.
And it's got to be every trip, because you've got to be able to prove if ID comes to have a look and says, show us your logbook, it's got to have every trip in it. So you can't sort of use the car for a couple of days, park it, and then use it and not forget and not put it in your logbook. That's just, you've got to keep track of all your mileage, etc. So it's pretty traceable, really.
And the other thing, of course, is that you use the farm ute to go into town to pick up some wire netting.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But you actually go and do the groceries and see the accountant?
Yeah, well, that's well, if you see the accountant and you just happen to call into the supermarket on the way home, that would be still classed as a business type trip, because you are actually doing it on for business purpose, if that was your primary reason. If you were just going in to get your groceries and happen to call in the accountant and say hello, no.
No, okay.
But if it was just the other way around, no problem at all.
Exactly, and how long is a piece of string?
Yeah.